I've been thinking about doing this video and had kind of had a pause from doing it because I felt like it might be petty, but I ran across something that pissed me off, and it's kind of, you could say, like almost them questioning my statements, and I'll actually show you what I'm talking about and let you see what they said. But if you recall and saw the video I did on these sometime back, I got these a while ago. These are the Predator Orange. It's a built right build that I had done. I waited, this was a 9-month lead time on this pair. I had originally ordered these. Let me back these up actually. There. I had talked to Nix about this heel, and I had seen some posts online. I think it was Jamin or one of the boot builders, and they basically said they do not compensate when they used to do half soles. They don't even do them anymore, probably because they can't handle any kind of consistent production, is my opinion. They said that they didn't compensate, and my concern was if I did, and I'd seen a pair, but they had posted a photo of a moderate stack on a half sole. It was just a V-bar half sole, and I think you guys might recall they called it the low rider. I think that's what Big Stetson called it. And it was super low heel because it didn't have a sole coming through here. So it just had the midsole for the heel, and then the 3 little layers, and then the rubber for the, whether it's this is a quabog, but whatever type of cap lift you have. And it was a really low heel, too low for even me. It made the boot look like a low rider, like the rear end squatted and the front up. And I was like, well, that's weird. You guys don't add some more leather or something, because the front of the boot's higher up from having the half sole of rubber pushing it up, right? You're not going to compensate for that. And they said they didn't. So when I learned that, I'm like, well, then I want more sole because I need something to make up the difference. So I ordered a classic stack, which is supposed to be a 5-layer sole. And what I got was a 6-layer sole. And I've told them repeatedly, if you look closely at these stacks, let me see how well this shows up in the camera here. But despite what they want to claim, this stack at the bottom is clearly thicker. This stack looks to be the same thickness as the midsole. Meanwhile, the rest of it almost has a different texture. So it really does look like, and I'm certain of this, that this was the 5-layer classic stack, and they put another layer to compensate, even though they said they would not. And then I saw this post the other day. It's old. It's an old Reddit post where he's saying that my video caused a lot of confusion, that basically I'm wrong, and that they always use the same stack. It's just the manufacturer has different layers. That's BS, and I'll prove it. This heel, I just measured these. This heel, again, you don't want to include this top layer right there because that's the midsole, right? And this is really hard to do this in front of the camera, but I'm going to try to align it for the camera. This heel stack is what? Just over an inch, and just a little more than an inch tall. So this 6-layer stack is over an inch tall. This is a classic stack, which I thought they would use. It's a 5-layer stack. Get the ruler out again. Oh, and lo and behold, look what happens when you measure this. It's hard with this. It's the Logger curled one. Sorry, let me get this by the camera again. This one is not an inch. This one's just barely over 3/4 of an inch. So this 5-layer stack, just like the top 5 layers of the other one, is just over 3/4 of an inch tall. I'm trying to get that bottom of the line of the ruler, because remember, the ruler doesn't start at the bottom here. It starts at that first little line. And this one is not even close to an inch tall. Like I said, it's just over 3/4 of an inch. Oh, and then check this out. This is where it gets really interesting and proves my freaking point. This is a 6-layer Packer stack. Oh, and guess what happens when you measure the 6-layer Packer stack? It's just over an inch again. So what that means is, despite what they want to say, and despite them basically, they don't even know they're on manufacturing because they're going to claim this nonsense. But they did compensate. I don't know if they did all the time, and that just kind of proves the point. Maybe this is why they gave up on half soles, because they can't do anything consistently. But this is not a classic stack. This is either a packer stack that they put on when they should not have, or they added another layer, and I'm pretty certain they added another layer. But even if they didn't add a layer, say the layers are inconsistent from the manufacturer, which that sounds questionable, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't tell me that I'm wrong and I'm spreading, confusion and misleading people. Whether or not you intended to do it, and if you didn't intend to do it, you guys have a real problem because you have no control of what's going on in your factory. You put a packer stack on a boot that was supposed to be a classic stack. So what ended up being the result was you did compensate for the lack of a midsole, lack of a sole going through here because it's a half sole. And I ended up with a boot that's too tall of a heel. It's literally as tall as a packer. This is a crazy tall. It's almost like the Becca women's boot. This heel is stupid tall, and it significantly impacts the comfort of this. I have multiple pairs, as you know, of 67s in 11E, and this fits noticeably tighter than all of them, and it's because I figured it out. My foot's sliding into the front, and it's kind of crunching into the front. When I realized that is I tried standing on a little curb in my house, a threshold between the two different floor types, which lifted the front of my foot up, maybe a half of an inch to kind of compensate for that extra bit here. And lo and behold, standing there for a while, it doesn't feel as tight because my foot's more balanced, because they're obsessed with their tall heels and they're obsessed with not having consistency, and then basically spreading lies about a content creator who's just calling out that he waited 9 months and didn't get what he asked for. And it's just frustrating. And I'll admit, when I brought this to their attention, they were willing to redo the heel, but I'm like, I just waited 9 months for this frickin' boot. I did not want to wait more time. And to know that they ripped the heel off the boot, because they're not going to rebuild this. They don't have any more of these built rights anyway. To rip off some of the sole and it just was like, you know what, I'm going to just tolerate it. But it just really proves my point that it's like there's no, this is what caused me to kind of just be over buying from them. It's like you don't even know what you're going to get. There's, you pick an option, and I'm not the only one. I've seen so many comments about this online where like you waited all these months of the lead time and you didn't even get the spec you ordered because there was some breakdown. Their quality control department maybe is former White's quality control. Maybe that's part of the issue. And then this, I hear this nonsense of, oh, the builder had to, when they heel it, they have to balance it. Well, I don't want you to balance it, buddy. I want you to build it per the spec I said. So when I order a classic stack with 5 layers, put that on there. I don't care if you think the boot's tipped backwards too much. It's not your boot. It's my boot. I'm the guy paying for it. So, bit of a rant, but I saw this and I've been thinking about it for a while, and it really pisses me off. It's like, don't tell me that I'm stating things that are misleading people when it's literally your production that can't follow its own rules. So that's it for me tonight. These are, by the way, the final. This is my tall boot crowd here. I think I mentioned these. Maybe I didn't mention this pair actually in my video on the Builder Pro that I posted earlier this week. This is the last of my taller heels. There will never be another addition to it. This boot works how it is for its purpose. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with this pair. Sell it is probably likely what's going to happen. Doesn't have too much wear in it, and it's kind of a special boot. The heel is just too much, and then this pair, I kind of like it for what it is. It's unique, but again, this heel is too tall. They didn't build it wrong. I did ask for a Packer heel, so in this case, I did ask for a Packer heel counter too, and they gave me they gave me a logger heel counter. This goes too far forward. The Packer heel counter on the Packers I used to own only went this far forward, more like this one, but then it like seems like it goes higher. This is a single piece. It's not the same thing. But this is, that's another example. I order a Packer heel counter and a Packer heel, and I got the logger heel counter. Like, if you don't even know what heel counter you're going to get, other than the only way you can guarantee it is if you get a single piece. That's the only way you know exactly what this will look like. Anytime you do the two piece, it's really up to them. I've seen urban loggers that have logger heel counters. I've seen urban loggers that have the more, whatever you want to call it, heritage heel counter. You never know. So this is just evidence of like you don't really know what you're going to get when you buy from them. So this boot, I was looking. I can buy these online. These are just the Vibram like cowboy top lifts. Same ones on my cowboy boots. I can get these online and get some barge cement. And I think, if I peel off one or two layers out of this heel, and then glue back on a new one that's a larger size one, so definitely fill to the sides, cut it, and then maybe sand it in my garage. It might work. The only issue I think is when I peel back a couple layers. I think those main nails they put in are going to be sticking out, and I don't want to pull those out because they're clinch nails. So I don't know. I have to cut them, saw them off, or something with a hacksaw, or sand it or something. I don't really have I just have a normal little like wood sander. So might just end up taking it to a cobbler or sending it to a cobbler. But last three tall heels, never again, and two of them may go away or be modified. All right, guys. Sorry, just I had to do it. I had to rant. Cheers.